Hello, and welcome to another episode of a conversation series. I am your host, LaDonna Williams. You can find me at Instagram and Facebook at Liberating_LaDonna. And today I am so pleased to announce our conversation today is with my friend, mentor, and actor, Thomas Jefferson Byrd. I am ecstatic that he agreed to come on the line with me. And without further ado, so I would like to welcome Thomas Jefferson Byrd to our conversation.
Hello, hello.
Hi. So I will start how I always begin my conversations with, who are your people?
Who are my people?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mother, my grandmother, and my two grandmothers, they are my people.
Mm-hmm.
They are my people. I light a candle for them every morning as I begin my morning prayers and meditation. I light a candle for them. They love me to this day unconditionally. They are largely responsible for this person that we call Thomas Byrd. That's my mother, Iris Byrd, my grandmother, Miriam Jinks, and my paternal grandmother, Viola Nichols Byrd. Those three ladies right there they've been right there for me, even to this day. And they've all made their transitions. But I hold them close to me, and I know that they're with me right now. They are largely responsible for this person.
That's such a beautiful thing to honor your mothers and your mothers, I think there's a lot of beauty in uplifting the women who have really had a foundation in our lives. So it's such a beautiful thing.
It is. And see, I grew up around women. That's why I said before that it's largely when you get me, you're going to get the influence of the women in my life. My mother, and my grandmothers. Those were the people that raised me. My aunts, and I didn't grow up in the same house with my father, and so when I'm with you, when I say this universal you, anyone who gets to know me, you're going to get the females in my life, the women in my life. They're all sweet, they're giving, loving, and that's who I am. And they are, I say for the last time, they are largely responsible for who I am today.
And I very much agree that you are a very sweet person.
Well, thank you, darling. I wasn't trying to be too braggadocious or nothing like that, but I can't honor them really without honoring myself, because who I am is because of them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? And we're still together. Yeah, who I am is because of them. That's that. I like to cook and take care and giving person, and that's the way. My grandmother modeled that kind of behavior. She was the closest thing to Jesus I've ever seen.
Mm.
They never said anything bad about. I never heard them say anything bad about anybody.
Mm.
They never. And my grandmother was always. She modeled humility, and she modeled empathy and sympathy and empathy for people. She modeled that for me, she would leave church with me, and she always had some child in her hand. And we would stop by one of the older saints of the church, and who was infirmed. And she would stop by to check on her, wash up some dishes for her, fix her bed covers, see if she was okay. That's how she modeled that kind of behavior, and I learned, from that, and it sticks with me. It sticks with me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important to my life. They never thought they were better than anybody else. I never heard anything like that ever. They never thought they were better than anyone else. They were always loving people, and they were always caring people.
Yeah. So what did they do?
But my grandmother, you mean the occupation?
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother, well, now she, when I was small, she worked at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
She was like a nurse, but then she was worked as an insurance salesman. But my grandfather was my paternal grandfather was the manager of a black insurance company called the Pilgrim Health and Life Insurance Company, and she sold insurance.
Mm.
And she would take me with her down. She sold insurance, and she had a lot of clients down in Zebulon, Georgia, 20 miles south of Griffin, Georgia. And she had some clients there. She would sometimes take me with her to pick up pick up insurance and all of that. So she sold insurance. She was very good at it. She was very smart. She was a smart lady, and I have memories of her. I would go by the insurance company sometime, and I had her. I remember her tallying up money and stuff, and it's very vivid. And I hadn't thought about that in years. Anyway, so she worked at the insurance company, and then now my mother was a teacher. She graduated from Fort Valley State in education and home economics, I think it was.
Okay.
So she was a teacher. My father was in the military and the Air Force, and so that's what they did.
Where did your mom teach at?
Well, she taught in Griffin there. She was very well loved in Griffin Elementary School at the I can't name the elementary school there, but she worked at Kelsey Elementary School for a while, and I was there for a while. She was same time she was there for a while, and then she was in different places around Griffin, Georgia. There.
Now, how was it for you having your mother be a teacher? And I would totally be mortified if my mother was a teacher when I was going to school.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was in third grade in Miss Touchstone's room, and we had taken a spelling test. And I had, I think we had to come up to the desk to pick up our papers. So I got up there. I had a big, fat, juicy F. I looked at it. I balled it up, threw it in the trash. She used to go show it to your mother. But she was in the next room. She was like in the next room to the left of us. She used to go show it to your mother. So I had to go. So there you go. What? Ain't that something?
Well,
if I looked at that F, I said, "What I don't need this for."
So when I was
to your mother. Oh, damn.
That couldn't have happened with me. Listen, I when I was in high school, I hid a couple of my report cards from my mom. I always called my dad because my dad was the one that I could go to. My mama she didn't play. So I couldn't, I had like a C or something, maybe even a D in math or something. And I was like, I promise, Dad, if you just hide this one from mommy, we just failed to mention it. But like, if she was in school with me, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on you. I just wouldn't wish that on you. No.
But this is the first time, like, if she's watching today, which I know she will be, yeah, this is the first time she'll be hearing about that one.
Well, good. That's a long time removed. That's a
I
good
know
thing.
it's been a long time. You know how mamas can be. Let me
Well,
look for the
it's
time
good
that
you
I
have
mentioned.
two. And it's good you have two. That you can, good cop, bad cop. Some are easier to talk to than others.
Hmm.
And I think I'm probably that easier to talk to myself, actually.
I think I always felt really bad for the kids whose parents taught at their school. So kudos to you. You made it through.
I did, and that experience I just told you about, it was something I'll never forget, and it's very funny. But that's how close, and that's the way that the adults were at that time. The teachers, they all knew the parents. Everybody knew everybody.
Hmm.
And like I said, and sometimes your mother might be in the same school, so that was very unusual for me.
Hmm.
But I learned to adjust, and I made an A next time, though.
Yeah,
So, but
that's
there was that. That's the family atmosphere that used to be at black schools. That was kind of a family atmosphere there. Everybody knew everybody's parents and uncles and grandparents and things.
yeah. How do you feel that formed you and your peers having that family aspect?
Oh, it was very influential in my life. It laid the groundwork for who I became as a teacher. Um, our teachers, most of them, loved us, and they loved us, and they had a stake in us. They felt like this. It was a charge that they had. They gave us the best that they had, and they, and when I taught for a little while, and as I teach now, in whatever venue that might be, everything is everything that I in every teaching situation is undergirded with love. The foundation is love. It's never um, a better than you attitude, or it never demeans students. I feel like they're like my child. I love them. I've loved all of my students, and I treat them that way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's in whatever class, if it's a dance class, I treat them as if I love them, as if they are and I do love them, and so it formed that kind of foundation in me, as as a as a teacher, as a director, as a cast member. It was very like my chorus teacher, Miss Jones, the great Gloria Glenn Jones. She was she gave us everything that she had. It was from her that I learned about the black classical gospel music. I learned about William Dawson, Chester Harrison. These were black gospel classics, and and it was just very. It proved to be very helpful to me when I got out of high school and got up and started working in theater. I knew things that a lot of people didn't know. I've been exposed to some black classical gospels music that was very. I'm so proud of that. They really tried to. They really gave us everything that they had, and we were very special that we got that information. I loved it. I loved it all. My band director too. They exposed us to a lot of things. Like I think about all the music that I was exposed to. Played the Merry Wives in the band. We were exposed to the Merry Wives of Windsor, William Tell Overture, marches, concert marches, marches by John Philip Sousa, just a variety of stuff. I could name a lot of pieces. And that kind of that helped to form my catalog, and it helped to form my opinion and my versatility. I like to think that I'm versatile. I like classical music. I like, you might be hearing something in the background right now. Jesse Norman. It was through my experiences in high school that helped form my appreciation for blues and all of the music that I like. So it was very influential. They set an example of helping. They really wanted to help us.
Mm-hmm.
They were there for us.
Right.
And I try to be that way. I carry that myself right now. Been burned a couple of times because of that, though, but still, I carry that. I carry that.
Now, is this the same choir director that my mom tells me about? Was there another one? She always tells me how like she had to sing. She was soprano, and she had to sing like all the way up here. Is this the same lady? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's got to be. If she was in high school, it was only one.
Okay. Yep.
Well, she was, Miss Jones. She was very good. She went to Spelman.
Okay. My mom always talks about it, but my mom's not artsy like that. So she is, but she's not. She's not.
I hear you. Okay.
She's not a music person, like, but she's very artsy. Like she.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not gonna say.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Some people embrace it more than others, And Miss Jones, I found out that foundation she got from Spelman.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and then once I left, I found out that was the foundation that they had there at Spelman, and it required a lot. She required a lot from us.
Right.
That's why we were in glee clubs, the boys' glee club, the girls' glee club. That's stuff that she learned at Spelman, and a lot of people in high school just didn't really embrace that. Some didn't embrace all of that, Some of us did, and some of us were more amenable to. I loved every minute of it. I was in heaven. I don't know if anybody loved it more than I did.
No, probably not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Not in a bad way. So you mentioned band. What instrument did you play in band?
Oh, trumpet.
Trumpet? Okay. These are things I never knew. Do you still play trumpet?
No, I don't have a trumpet anymore. I still no, I don't have a trumpet anymore.
If we got you a trumpet, do you think you could play it still?
Well, I could play it. Oh, yeah? But I wouldn't be very much good, but I can, you could tell that I play. You can tell that I know what I'm doing. I'm not, I wouldn't be Miles Davis or anything like that, but I'm still a musician at heart.
That's all that matters.
I'm a musician at heart. I'm telling you, I promise you I
am. Right. So I keep bringing up my mother because you both grew up together. You went.
Yeah, how fortunate we were.
Did you say unfortunate?
How fortunate we were.
Oh, how fortunate.
Oh, yeah, we were fortunate. I was fortunate to go with your mother. Oh, God, yes.
Yes. So tell me about your hometown. Because
Griffin, Georgia.
It's a very important piece.
Well,
who you are.
We felt important in Griffin, Georgia. We felt so important that our our ancestors, our mothers, and the adults there, they made us feel very important.
Mm-hmm.
And we, we were, we weren't. None of us were rich kids, but we really had a very nice upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was because of the leadership that was there, the ministers, teachers, and as I look back on it, I'm very proud of our ancestors who looked after us, your grandmother, um, and how they really made it nice for us. And uh, we had nice, our high school, we felt like we were really great high school.
Mm-hmm.
We felt we still love each other to this day. We thought we were pretty hot. Child, we was just little poor black kids pretty much. But we always had enough of everything, and we had a good frame of mind. We grew up in a very nice way. And at that time, Griffin was, before they built 75, people used to come through Griffin going to Florida. That's how I began to read tag numbers. Coming down the main street there in Griffin was cars for days, cars for days. And you would see Quebec, you would see New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You would see all of these different tags.
Mm.
And I remember now there was people looking at them like, oh, look at this quaint little town. Look at these natives. You could see it. And the street was just, the highway was just packed with cars because they had to come through Griffin going on down to Florida. And I didn't realize that until later on in my life that that's where they were going until. But so, and there was and it was a very populated place on the weekends for the people down in Zebulon and Concord and Thomaston, surrounding smaller counties, smaller cities, would come to Griffin to shop on Saturday. And the town would be, Griffin would be, baby, it'd be popping. It'd be popping. Go down Walls, they call it Walls Alley.
Mm-hmm.
Go down Walls Alley, that's where you had the black businesses there. Shoe Shine, Ralph Ramirez Barbershop, a couple of Bill Alexander's pool room. So people in there, guys was in there gambling. People get haircuts, women getting their hair done. People go by the Triple H sandwich shop buying hot dogs and things in there, in the jukebox. And there was a lot of traffic up and down Walls Alley. A lot of traffic on Saturday.
Okay.
A lot of traffic. It was popping in there. It was very exciting. It was very, very, very exciting. And so, so it was a very interesting kind of place. It was about 24,000 people in Griffin at the time, I think. Probably about 24,000 people. Not a lot to do. Not a lot to do. We ended up, we started going bowling. And we thought that was pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I will offer this to you. As I remember, they had two movie theaters. They had a black one and they had a white one. We never thought about it. We just knew that that's where the white folks went. And then we went, and we knew the one we went to. It was called the Lincoln Theater. Mm-hmm. Well, the name of the white theater was called Imperial Theater. Mm-hmm. Does that ring a bell to you? Okay, the Imperial Theater. Well, now, as I continue to live, you find out that the Ku Klux Klan had an imperial wizard. The imperial wizard. That's kind of there's some synonymousness going on there. You hear me?
I see.
You hear me? The imperial Oh, the Ku Klux Klan was there now, and that's kind of a code word in a way, I found out later. I said, oh, that's a code word. That's an homage. You feel me, right?
I see.
Yeah, it was called the Imperial, and then before, I guess around before we graduated, then we started going to the Imperial. And well, we never saw hardcore racism in Griffin. I never saw Ku Klux Klans walking down the street in their garb in Griffin. They were there. Of course, they were there. It's not by coincidence that that place was called the Imperial Theater. Okay, so but we never saw that. We never saw anything like that. Another thing, we always on Saturday we played our football games on Saturday. Saturday was a big day in Griffin. I told you about all the people coming to town, shopping, getting haircuts, hanging out in Griffin, shooting pool, gambling, just taking care of business, buying, shopping, or whatever. Um, and well, and then Saturday night, football night. Well, there was a big night in Griffin because we got a football game that night. And then I was in the band, of course, and I couldn't wait when I got to high school to get in that band. Boy, I remember it. I know what it felt like. We would march from the high school over to the stadium. And all the black people would come out. They could hear us coming down the street. We didn't they didn't have a bus for us. They didn't have a bus for us to take us over there and bring us back. We marched over there. Our band director felt like that'd be good for us. It wasn't a long way, but he felt like it would be good for us. I tend to think too that, on hindsight, I tend to think that probably didn't have no money for a bus. I don't know, but but who knows? It was a good thing, and it wasn't. There was a good thing. It was kind of like a tradition there, and as people hear us coming, and you begin to see these black kids in the uniforms headed toward high school,
Right.
And then there you go. Everybody started getting that feeling, and then we get in the street there and march up the street, and all the black people come out of their houses as we come up Third Street, hoop around, and come up there, and people come outside and they say, "Hey!" They just, it was a fun time, it was a beautiful time. It was okay, something happened tonight, and then we get there and play football.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Okay. I thought I lost you for a second.
Well, we lost each other for a second. But then, and then we march over there, and then that was Saturday night football game, right? Mm. Well, sometimes later I found out it was a fun time. Saturday night we had a football game to go to. We was playing. We had a good band. We had nice uniforms. Our high school never had raggedy uniforms and things either. And I noticed that some of the schools we played, they weren't always as we look kind of pristine. We didn't have raggedy uniforms. Our football teams had good uniforms. And but as I kept living, found out that Friday nights was the white folks' night. Mm. And I realized that after I got grown and left Griffin, because Friday night was when they had high school football games on Friday night. After I left high school, I realized, wait a minute, everybody have football on Friday nights. Yeah, but they used to have black was on the Saturday. And, on Friday nights, the white kids was using that stadium. Mm. And I didn't realize that they were even playing until that was how that Friday nights were the nights that you play football. But during the segregation, black people played on Saturday night. Mm. Wow. And the white people played on Friday night. Wow. So Griffin they made it very nice for us. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Mm-hmm. Tell you about Griffin. Tell you what kind of people they were. one day at the youth center, we had one little youth center over there, one, little one room there, pool. Well, one day we got the word to come down to the youth center. I don't know how we got the word, but somebody said, come down to the youth center. So we go to the youth center, and this guy, Ralph Gray, was down there and said, okay, we're going to start a little league baseball team. And they set up certain people to be captains of 4th Street, American Legion Tigers, VFW Braves, the Circus Street, on Circus Street where your mother used to live.
Mm-hmm.
They were the Elk Lodge Senators, people from that neighborhood. And they said, want everybody to, so people pick teams. That's where those teams kind of came from, those areas. So everybody to go to the store and bring me drop it by my house, a t-shirt, go buy a t-shirt. And drop it by my house. And the VFW Braves, you guys go and buy your baseball cap, red and look like the Braves caps. Okay, American Legion Tigers, go out and buy you guys a blue cap. Indians, Youth Center Indians, you guys go out and buy a red cap. And the Elk Lodge Senators, they wore blue caps. So we went out and we bought a t-shirt. We dropped it by Ralph Gray's house. Now, Ralph Gray was an artist, a visual artist. He was also a sports enthusiast, and he was also a visual artist. So what he did was he drew on every kid who was a VFW Braves, he put a number on the sleeve, and he drew a picture of the Braves logo on there. For every one of the kids was a VFW Brave. And for the American League Tigers, he drew a perfect image of Tony the Tiger.
Oh.
And a little number on the sleeve. And it was perfect. He drew them on every one of them. For the Youth Center Indians, he drew the Cleveland Indians logo just like it looked today.
Wow.
It was not, I promise you, it was perfect. And for the Elk Lodge Senators, he gave them, they were kind of like a shooter off. Like he gave them a top hat, gloves, and a cane. Because there used to be, the Senators used to be a team that came out of Washington Senators. And he drew every one of those. All of those teams, he drew every one of them. Baby, and then we put our caps on with the t-shirts. Girl, baby, we were so happy. We was just like, so God almighty. And then we had to go down to the field where we were going to play, and everybody come down there and line up all the way across the field. Make a long line. Everybody who's going to play, line up and start walking all the way across the field, picking up rocks and throwing them, getting them out the field. You're walking on, picking up rocks. Pick up rocks, see the rock, pick them up, throw them away. So we would have a place to play without rocks and stuff. And then that's how, then they provided a little league baseball league for us. Because see, over at the white schools, they had nice fields, and they had their own place over there. So, but this is what our people did for us. Ain't that beautiful? That's who we are. That is who we are. That is who we are as a people. Now you see the stereotype goes down that we nothing like that. You don't see, the stereotype of Black people. The people in Griffin defied the stereotype. They defied the stereotype. And the stereotype was, the stereotype. A lot of people don't know it. But, the stereotype is that you're all criminals and sex fiends and no good, slovenly, lazy, all of the things that they're still selling today. But I'm telling you, that's who our people were. And talking about Griffin, at my church, I have a picture of my Bible school class. We walked for 4th of July. We walked from our church. It used to be Hex Chapel. We walked from there all the way down to the head park for a picnic in twos. Not one person got out of line the whole time. Walked all the way over there, walked across the bridge, all the way down 4th Street, all the way down to 2 in twos. Stayed in the line, never stepped out of line, nothing like that. So our people, they made, I said, and I want to do we need to do an homage and a thank you to them, because they really, really made, your grandmother was one of them. They really made it nice for us. They really made it nice for us. And you see a lot of negative things now about my people, and that comes from a central place. That don't just pop up. That comes from some brainchild. You know, from anyway. I just want to tell you this, man, about Griffin, and I'm proud of that place. Those people really made it nice for us.
Yeah.
I'm the man I am today is because of where I grew up.
Yeah.
That's largely responsible for who I am today. And a lot of times I found out that people look at you because you come from the town down in Griffin, Georgia, like they kind of look down on you, try to look down on you. Well, they ain't looking down now, I bet you. You go, you travel. I end up traveling and going out working in different places, but in New York. And then find out that this little country boy stand on stage with you and get some accolades you're not getting. So there you go. So you asked me, I told you a lot of stuff about Griffin. You asked me one question, I told you plenty, didn't I?
No, this is what this is for, to just have a conversation. Like, we chilling.
Well, that's what they called it. I'm telling you. It's a beautiful thing. And you're a beautiful person to chill with.
Thanks.
Easy to talk to. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
What you have so much to offer the world.
Thank you.
You have so much to offer the world, and I hope I could see it when all of it comes to fruition. But you got something very special to offer. I mean, the world. I don't use that term loosely. I mean literally. You have something very special to offer the whole world. I can't wait to see it.
I receive it. It.
It's true. No, it's true.
So, thank you for sharing about your city and where you come from, because I see and I know what I know about you, and not just you, but your whole class and all that I've had the privilege of meeting, that those were very formative times and people, and I can see it in and through all of you who I've met. And I love that when I look at your generation, it's something about your generation and like this camaraderie that you have.
Oh, good word. It is, because that's exactly what it was. It is.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just the times. I don't know if it's just the people or the places that you come from, or if it's just like, I mean, like, it was a different time, right? Like, so I don't know what that is. And I love it. I think it's such a beautiful thing. And not to say that same thing doesn't exist in other generations, but it's something about those that grew up in the 60s. Y'all are a different breed of folks.
Well, I think it's a combination of all you said. Mm-hmm. And it all, now, you heard the phrase, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And no truer words ever spoken. And that's very simple and can be very far reaching. But I think it's all of those things that you spoke about. And I mean, I can't attribute any kind of we're better than any other generation or whatever, but it was just a composite of the times that the people, it was a confluence of the people, the lives that they have lived, our parents and ancestors, the lives that they had led, and what they brought to the table. And then we appeared, and then we came into a time and space where we thought differently than they did. Like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, my grandmother, they start trying to feed me, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Wait, you could do that and you still here today? Like,
well,
I can't do that to my grandma. Like,
how they looked at me like I was an alien or something. They're like, what you talking about? You don't like it. You mean don't want it. I know. I was just, I don't eat that, and so they were just kind of, who is this people? Who is this guy? And it just kept on going from there. So we just came and we brought something with us. I like to think that the Holy Spirit gave us something. We brought something. I remember a saying that Maya Angelou said. She said, I stand as one, I come as one, but with 10,000. I think I'm more and more convinced of it that we bring stuff with us when we come on the scene. You brought stuff with you. It's in your DNA. You brought stuff with you. When you came on the scene, we look at you like, wow, the kid's so smart. Damn, how they get so smart? My granddaughter, she's so smart. Seemed like a breed of, that's right off the bat, they seem way smarter than us. And, I think we bring something with us. I think the Holy Spirit gives us something, brings us something. We're infused with something that we bring with us. And, that to help us, it plays a big part in who we are. And it's the way we think, the energy, the spirit.
Yeah.
I think it's largely. I think what lives in us is all that has ever gone on before. All that has ever gone on before is a part of us right now. We bring that with us. I feel like we are vast extensions of consciousness.
I love that. Vast extensions of consciousness.
Yeah. And I think that's what we bring, and that's why that's what made us who we were. We were receptacles, and then we were manifest, and then God said, "Let us make humankind our image."
Yeah,
we're part of that.
Yeah.
It's because we are God's children. We all are, and He comes right there with us.
So I think something that how we met. I met you when you were doing the Amen Corner at Alliance Theater.
Oh, that's when it was?
Yeah. That's
wow.
And I remember my mom, she was like, my homeboy is doing this show. You got to come. And I remember her dragging me, not that she had to drag me too far, because I love going to plays, but she was like, we have to go to this. The first time ever my mom has ever said anything about going to a play with such,
Yeah.
You're the only one that could ever bring her out to a play. I drag her along and she comes, but she doesn't ever come So just to let you know.
Oh, that's great. How lovely.
And she stayed awake the whole time.
Stayed awake the whole time.
So that's how she judges
I
plays.
hear you. I ain't
Right?
mad. That's
She's
so
like,
real.
if you keep me awake and interested, I'm gonna be up. Like, it's a good play. So
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. And I'm so glad you stayed awake because, that says that we were doing something that, some people go to plays and they don't listen, they look. If you stayed awake, you heard something, you tend to, a good play makes you stay awake to hear because you hear what's going on. So that's very great to hear. How lovely. I never knew. All right. How lovely. How lovely.
That's how we met and how you reconnected.
That's how it was. Oh, I remember now. Did we meet out in the lobby or something, or in the foyer or something?
It was a long time ago. I think
And your grandmother was there?
She may have been. She may have been.
Okay, I think anyway. Well, so that's when it was. Okay, I had just returned from New York at the time, and I was very, very happy to be working because I had a stroke.
Oh.
And I was very very thankful. I was so in love with that play. That play really enlightened me about a lot of things. A lot of it just reading the play itself. And I read it. I must have read it 100 times, but it just enlightened me to so many things that are parallel to what's going on now. And I was just like, oh my God, this play is greater than I thought it was. I never knew how, I was discovering how great it was. And I became immensely dedicated to it. The words of James Baldwin were the prophet James Baldwin. James Baldwin was a prophet, a mystic. And he was, it was very instrumental to my formulation as an artist. I love that play.
Yeah.
Love that play.
So define mystic for people who don't know what a mystic is.
Well, a mystic, let me say, one who sees beyond what is now, sees beyond hear, see, smell, taste, touch. Like a see beyond the physical. I think the word for prophet, I think it means gusher. So stuff is always coming up, Well, a mysticism, root word would, I guess, would probably be the mystic would be the root word for mysticism. One who knows about unspoken things, things that are not physical. One who is mysterious things, unexplainable things. He knows things that are really kind of unexplainable in physical form. You know things intuitively. That's the best I would have. It's called mystics. They're kind of like prophets. I look at them as prophets, as those who see beyond the physical. Those who see beyond the physical. Therein lies, therein lies, seeing beyond the physical. Hear, see, smell, taste, touch. We are often into the hear, see, smell, taste, touch. I don't see it. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I love that. I love defining him as a mystic. I love that. So tell us about your journey into art, into your craft.
I was reading Princess Noire, The Triumph of Princess Noire, the life of Nina Simone. And at some point, someone asked her about her great career. She said, I didn't choose that career. It was a blessing from God. And I said, after I thought about that for a while, that that became my story.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that it was my journey began in Griffin doing a play in elementary school. For some reason, had a spark in me. I must as I speak about that, I must speak about I was blessed to grow up in Griffin, Georgia, around the people that I grew up around. My minister, Reverend J.N. Sopsher, with the Methodist Church, they have itinerant preachers. We have a preacher for a while, and then another one comes in. Well, we were sent Reverend J.N. Sopsher, and he was a very educated man. Came from Arkansas, where racism has been known to be pretty prevalent. And he came there and he educated people. And his wife, Miss Esther Sopsher, she really did like me. And we did plays for Easter or Christmas, especially Easter. We did a Easter play. And Miss Sopsher was in charge of that. And she always wanted me to be in it. And I think I was very amenable to it. I was very cooperative, and I was very amenable to it. I don't know if anybody loved it as much as I did. I don't think if anybody took it as seriously as I did. So it was a blessing for me, because I don't know if anybody. We did a Easter play one time, and my friends were, it's all guys, and somebody said the wrong line and shot us to the very end of the play. And I was very upset about that. Nobody else really cared. But that's when I first discovered that. Wait a minute, I was just a little more serious about this stuff. It was important to me. But Miss Sopsher always had an affinity for me, so I have to give her a lot of that respect for that, because Miss Sopsher always had had an affinity for me. And then in elementary school, I was in the chorus, cottage. I was in the children's choir in my church, and then in elementary school, plays. I enjoyed being in a play there, and I was in a play in elementary school, and I had a role to play. Where I played broken language or split verb. It was a metaphor for. I played a physical personification of split verbs and incorrect language, and and I was all bandaged up, like the English language was all bandaged up, So, and it was such a great part to play, and the audience loved it. And I had a great time. So, and then when I got to high school, I was still kind of meandering. I hadn't made a commitment to any great commitment. But I went to, I guess it was 10th grade, 10th, 11th grade. My English teacher wanted to come and audition for this play to submit to for a state competition. And a dear friend of mine he had him reading for this part, and he was a lawyer. And he would come in the door, do his lines, and every time Mr. Stringer would stop, say, no, do it again. No. After about 5 or 6 times, I said, oh, no, man, it's not like that. Do it like this, like this. But you would never do in a real rehearsal. We didn't know. You would never do that in a real rehearsal. You just wouldn't do that.
Right.
So Mr. Stringer didn't say anything. So I go out there and try it. And Mr. Stringer goes, yeah, you do it. And I did, and then I ended up taking the part.
Oh yeah.
And then we went down to the state competition, and On the way back, Mr. Stringer was sitting by me, and he had the evaluation papers. And he said, "Here, look at this." And he pointed to it, "Look at that." It was a very emotional, well, I guess it was the climax of the play. I had to be I should have been more emotional, and I should have responded in a more extravagant way. I say it like that. And I didn't do it. He said, "Look at that." He called my character's name. He said, his response was, "Not good." And they were right. It wasn't. I didn't have those I didn't have those mental capabilities, those internal kinds of capabilities to make that thing happen. I didn't have those kind of skills. And really, Mr. Stringer didn't have the words, and I didn't have the wherewithal to make it happen. So, but then I started doing plays, and I got kind of interested then. And very interesting. So then we did another play there in high school, and I was kind of loving this thing now, and everything was going well. And I remember thinking, on stage, it's got to be more to it than this now. There's got to be more to it than this. And that attitude right there has served me to this day. I never take anything for granted. I never take anything for granted. And so anyway, it began like that. And, so I was interested like that. So I was interested like in my early years, like that. And then after I got to college, I went to Morris Brown, and we had no theater department. The theater department was over at Morehouse and Spelman. And I was in the band over there, but that's all we really had. I wasn't in the choir, but I was in the band.
Right.
So anyway, some years later, after I left Morris Brown, I got into dance classes. My girlfriend signed me up for a dance class. I had never danced before, nor had any interest in it. I'd never seen anything that made me want to dance until we went to see Ashford and Simpson. Mm-hmm. They were at the Symphony Hall, and George Faye's son, the great choreographer George Faye's son, had a dance company called the Universal Dance Experience. He was on the show at Ashford and Simpson, and they came out first, and I was like, they were dancing to Otis Redding and Stevie Wonder, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. I mean, I would. I would. Not that I had skills. I said, I could do that. And then Ashford Simpson came out and did their show. And a very interesting story. After I left Atlanta and moved to New York for a while, Ashford and Simpson have a bar, have a place they call Sugar Bar. And I would go by there. And George Faye's son was in there. And I told him one time, I said, I was at that show when y'all came to Atlanta, and he was like, wow. He was like, Nick, Val, look, he was at the show. He was at that show we did in Atlanta years ago down there. And it was at Symphony Hall. It was at Symphony Hall, or it was at Symphony Hall, the Alliance Theater was there. And so, but that was my first my first time being turned on to some dance. And then so she signed me up. My girlfriend at the time signed me up because I told her that I wouldn't mind taking a ballet class, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was taking a ballet class, because he was studying karate, martial arts. And I said, well, wow, that's cool. There were certain football players who took, dance classes, helped their footwork and stuff. And I was like into sports. I was like, wow, I'm not doing that then. And so she signed me up for a class, and I couldn't do nothing. I didn't know anything about anything. I knew nothing about no dancing girl. I, I wouldn't know. Left, right, chord. Oh no,
So
I
you
knew
trying to
nothing.
tell me you didn't have no rhythm?
None. No, I had no. Well, I had rhythm, but not.
Okay.
When we start talking about modern dance,
Uh-huh.
we're talking about the coordination of left arms and arms, and that's another kind of dance.
Oh, yeah.
That's coordination. That is the coordination that you have. It's like almost like it's like the only thing I can liken to is playing piano. Your left hand is doing something. Your right hand is doing something else. Your left leg is one thing. Your right leg is doing something else. So coordinating that kind of stuff. That's left brain, right brain stuff that you have to take classes and develop those kinds of skills for that. Because anybody can just move their arm around. For people who don't know, who don't have a vision, I mean, an inner vision for movement, it just looks like they just out there moving around, throwing their arms around. But there are some dancers who you're like, oh, no, they're different. They have more control over that stuff. And it's not just flailing around. So you have to learn how to, it's such classes you take. Pliés, tendus, rond de jambe, there's a ballet technique you learn to get become familiar with you become familiar with your body and how to make those things happen. You know, it's a very intelligent thing. So it took me a year to be consistent. And they wanted me to join. Well, they was not because I could dance, but they're always looking for guys. They're looking for warm bodies. You know, they were always looking for warm bodies. You know, especially guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, men. Yeah, come on, Jordan. You can be. I don't know how to dance. What you mean?
Okay, we'll teach
Well,
you.
we'll teach you. Just come on. So I started doing. It took me a year to become consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's how that happened. And then one thing led to another, and then so doors began to open for me, and that's true in life. I think I'd already casted my lot in this fine art business, in this performing arts business. I had an affinity for the performing arts. Began with music. I had an eye for things that are higher level art, and the seed had already been planted. It was going back to a theme of what I said before. It was a gift from God.
Mm-hmm.
The seed had already been planted. And as the doors, I would see a door open, and I was like, oh yeah, what about that? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then another door would open. It was all because, LaDonna, because I had an appreciation for the performing arts, for art, for high quality art. I had an appreciation for it. No, that ground foundation was started in music. I was exposed to different kinds of music.
Mm-hmm.
Various forms. So then those because I was exposed to those different kinds, I had an appreciation for more than one kind. So those different forms manifest themselves in different forms. Movement, an appreciation for movement, an appreciation for impressionism, an appreciation for cubism, an appreciation for surrealism. You could see and go like, oh, there's something there. There's something there. You know, avant-garde art. I could see something there.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, art is a bowl of fruit. That's art, bowl of fruit. But when you start talking about abstract art, you start talking about Picasso. I said, well, there's something interesting there. I never poo-pooed that stuff. So the seed had already been planted.
Right.
And then I found out that the ancestors were calling on me. You see, because then Picasso, the great Picasso, was inspired by African art. Mm-hmm. He saw that stuff went like boom, wow, shakalaka. You know? And you see, well, ain't that something? So there was something there. So it's all connected, and the seed had already been planted in me. You know, so doors kept opening, and I kept walking in. But it came because I had an appreciation for it. The seed had been planted, but I had appreciation. I never poo-pooed. I never poo-pooed a different look, a different kind of art. I never thought I was better than anybody. I was always a learning. I'm a student. I'm still a student today. And I'm still working at it. I'm gonna reach my goal one day. I'm really still working on it. I still ain't got the way I want to be, but I'm still working on it. I'm still working on this. I'm trying to get to this certain level of artistic proficiency. So I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
And because I'm just a student. So because I'm still a student, it allows me to, to keep learning, and that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. I lost. Hello.
So I don't mind change. A closed mind is afraid of change. Open mind embraces it. My mind has always been open about, my mind's always been open to learning new things.
Mm-hmm.
And it has allowed me to, from the first time I learned it, whatever I learned first, which goes back to working with Miss Option, I found something new. Never something new. And I just happened to be one that was interested in it. None of the people that I came along with, just obviously were not interested in it. I just was, So it's just a blessing. It's a blessing from God, and it's doors open. I walk through.
Yeah. Now, am I correct? You dance with Alvin Ailey, right? No.
No, I auditioned for Alvin Ailey.
Okay.
I auditioned for him, and I passed the audition, but I was too old. They didn't want me. Well, if I had lied, I probably could have gotten in. I could have, but I didn't lie. I was about 28.
Okay.
That's too old. And it was a blessing because New York would have eaten me up at the time. New York would have swallowed me up. I was not mentally mature to be in New York at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The company was going through some changes at that time. They were really going through some changes at that time, and child, I couldn't have.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that. Yeah. So I ended up going to grad school out in California, which was a much better place for me, more controlled environment, and I learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that I use to this day. So it was already laid out for me. I just had to walk through that door. And so here we are today talking, and you've gotten a synopsis. It was a blessing from God. I say it again. It was a blessing from God, and I've maintained the same kind of foundational thoughts: humility, a student, open mind. I've been able to maintain some a face in this business, and I'm very thankful for them. I thank God for it every day. I'm very thankful that I've done as much as I have. I see people doing so much more. And when you see that stuff, if you're not careful, you can go, "Oh Lord, they doing so much more. They this and that," but I can't do that. The humility in me, gratitude. I have an attitude of gratitude. And what is it? In all things, what is that? 1 Thessalonians 5.
Let's look it up.
In all things, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus the Christ concerning you. In all things, give thanks. And I'm thankful for all of it. The good, the so-called bad, it's all of it. Because I made it, gratitude is at the foundation of who I am. I've been able to speak. Grateful and grateful.
Hold on, your sound just your sound.
Okay, I don't know. I might have said something.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, in all things give thanks. But this is the will of God in Jesus the Christ concerning you. And there is the key, gratitude. I give thanks for all of it. Even the stuff that seems bad. I mean, I know I've had some bad auditions. I mean, some horrible auditions. I've been so bad, I want to just sink through the floor. While I was auditioning, I was like, boy, you are so bad. This is so terrible. You are so, this is the worst. That was the worst. So I said, God, that was so terrible. As I was doing it, I was saying, this is terrible. Damn, this is terrible. I was so embarrassed. But I said, I ain't gonna let that happen no more. But then I auditioned I was so naive. Early on, I auditioned for New York University Theater School. I had no child. I was so naive. I thought I could go there and I thought I could audition because they came to Atlanta. I didn't have a chance. I had no skills. I didn't have no skills. I was so naive. Like I could go up there, like I could go down. It was at the Peachtree Plaza. They had a room there. And I walked in there and then found me a little monologue. I ain't know nothing about no monologue. As I look back, I think that guy was looking at me like, he don't even know he ain't got a chance to. He don't even know. They didn't. I didn't have, child. I didn't even have a chance. It was like naive. It was like, oh, child. It was just as naive as I could ever be. But and I kept working and kept doing things. But I was terribly naive. I didn't know shit. I knew nothing.
Well, you were brave enough to go because some people don't even.
I was naive enough to go.
Well, I mean, like, I think about a lot of stuff that I didn't even walk through the door because I was so scared. And it had nothing to do, well, yeah, looking back at some things that I just didn't go for, I realized like now I'm more equipped. But I mean, like, to have the bravery to even walk through the door, to be seen, whether you knew something or not, Last week we were talking to my friend Miss Barbara, who has a dinner theater, right? She talked about how she didn't know anything about writing plays, but she just knew that this was what God was calling her to do. And she wrote the play and put it on. And then afterwards, she went to school to learn more, right? But like some people don't even walk through the door, and I think that's the beauty of it.
That is a beauty there. It is.
But you need to know what you're doing before you walk through the door.
Well, it took me at that time. I didn't know anything about theater. I didn't know anything about auditioning. I didn't know anything about monologues. Girl, I didn't know anything. But I thought that I could audition. How naive. I was very naive.
So what was your major? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I was going to ask you, what was your major in undergrad?
Education.
Okay.
But I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. The seed has been planted in me to do what I do, and sometimes I can't rag myself too much. I can't do it because I've accomplished a few things, and that's a blessing. I was never the smartest one in school. I was never the best trumpet player. I was never like, yeah, he's at the top. He at the top of the class. I was never like that. I was just average, just like everybody else. But never those who are greater. But no one has done. I've always been a student and still a student today as an actor, still a student. I guess I was trying to say something to the effect of, it was something in me that made me interested in certain people. I was interested in, the first person I was really interested in as an actor was James Earl Jones.
Mm.
And I saw him in The Great White Hope.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, that touched me. And then I was interested in people like Ruby Dee. Yeah, I saw her in Bucking the Preacher when I was in college.
Mm.
She's always had it was something in her that was in me. And it was like the Spirit of God in her spoke to the Spirit of God in me. And all of those characters all those personalities that James Earl Jones exuded in Great White Hope, it was something in all of those people, all of those scenarios that touched me. He was angry. He was fiery. He was humiliated. He was sad. He was beat. He was exuberant. It was something about everything that he did it touched me. And then I was interested in, I would just see certain people and go, oh yeah, Marlon Brando. Wow. Something he's doing. Something I like that guy right there. And then, lo and behold, I didn't really know anything about Academy Awards and really all that stuff. I was not really into all that at the time. But I remember during the Academy Awards, why did I see this? He was supposed to win the Academy Award. And why am I watching? Because I was not really a big time enthusiast. Well, what happened? He didn't show up. He sent an indigenous person from some tribe to accept the award for him. And she came out in her garb and she accepted the award. It was a political statement he was making. Why did I see that? Wow. I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I was also interested in Paul Newman. Well, why am I interested in Paul Newman? Well, come to find out that he was a very good-looking guy and a fine actor, and everybody obviously loved him. It was somebody's work that touched me, but I was like, well, come to find out that he has a salad dressing and popcorn and stuff called Newman's Own,
Mm-hmm.
and his face is on it. Well, all of that money goes to charities. Why did I read that story? That appealed to me, you know? Now, see, a lot of people might say, well, I'm getting ready to start me a salad dressing, and with my face and as popular as I am, I'm getting ready to make a whole lot of money. Well, no, he's making enough money. Let me just use this to help some other people. You see, those kind of things influence me. Those were people that influenced me. Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis, people like that influenced me before I even knew why. Well, they were political people as well. They loved, and they were activists for us and for human rights. They were activists. They called out right from wrong. they and the powers that be knew that, and they trailed them. So it was a blessing from God. I was connected to those people. Like attracts like. And so there was something in them that was in me. And I try to be that today. I'm inspired by them. Came to me one day that I have to portray, and I couldn't verbalize it at the time, but something was coming to me about how to portray a part and how to do it with integrity. But I couldn't formulate words, but something was speaking to me about that. Imagery is very important. Film and TV those things affect people and they influence people on a grand scale. And if you're not careful, if you're not socially responsible, you can influence people in a bad way. And I was aware of that, and I don't know how or why I was aware of that. But I couldn't verbalize it. But I knew that there was something was speaking to me along those lines, and it began to become clear to me. And my first film, I played this guy who was a killer, who was actually a real person, and I could never see myself as that. First of all, I was doing a play at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and I'm playing a guy from Oklahoma, Western kind of person. It's about these people who left Oklahoma, left Tulsa, Oklahoma. Anyway, they moved for Kansas to get away from all them racist white people, wherever they were. Anyway, I was playing a part and this girl saw me and wanted me to audition for a Spike Lee film called Clockers. And well, the part they wanted me to audition for was nothing like the role that I was playing. The guy was actually a killer, a real life killer. And I learned how to audition better then. Okay, make a long story short, I got the part. And I created a backstory for this guy. This is very important. By that time, I had created a backstory. I had grown to the point of I created a backstory for this guy. And I saw this image of him. I said, this guy right here used to be like around here in Atlanta, on the streets of Atlanta, used to be a lot of poor people walking the streets. A lot of them was preaching and stuff. And it reminded me of these kids I used to see. They had blue pants and white shirts, and they were wrinkled. They were poor kids, and had Bibles in their hand. So I created a backstory for this guy. I said, that's who he used to be. He used to be one of them people. He one of them boys. And they made so much fun of him. The people made so much fun of him till they turned him into a killer. Turned him into a killer. That was my personal backstory for this person. And I said, but really, he was a good kid. He was a good kid, really. And then when I went to my second audition for Spike, I created this monologue because he wanted me to do some ad-libbing, but I didn't know anything. I didn't have any information about the guy at all. I didn't have 2 lines, 3 lines. So I had to go back and create some backstory for who is this guy. So I went back the next day, and then I created this. After I'd done that stuff, I had to come up with this I had to come up with a light monologue, and this guy, the lead character, this guy Strike. I met him on the street, and I said, and this guy was so bad in real life. When he said, stop, you stop. He would go in he'd go in your pocket and take your money out. and nobody said anything. He said he was really he was just that bad. So this kid coming on. He said, hey man, you got $50. Going in the boy pockets. You got $50? You got $50? And the boy, no man, no. And so the guy says to him, look here, what you doing out here? I don't want, look here, you ain't got no business out here. And he began to school him about being out here. This character I carried on playing, had AIDS, using drug use. So he just told this boy all his story and told him he didn't want to see him out here no more because you ain't got no business out here. See, now that's where a lot of thugs used to be when I was coming along. They'd say, look, what you doing out here trying to get them out here? You know, they wasn't trying to get you in the business. Those guys had some integrity. They was like, get you, I won't see your ass out here no more now. And you wouldn't be out there no more, you know. So he did that. And because I said, that guy used to be somebody, you know. Well, anyway, fast forward now, 15 years later, I'm in a play. I went to see this, a friend of mine in a play in New York. There must have been 86 in there. And it was a brother. I said, and so it was only one black guy in the play. So I went to see him. And I noticed these two people eyeing me, two black people. I said, I wonder what they doing in here. I said, maybe they know my friend. So I saw him. Anyway, after the play was over, go downstairs, get out there in front of the theater. And the guy said, were you that guy in Clockers? I said, yeah. He said, man, thank you. Because after I saw that, I've been clean and sober 9 years. Because see, that my character had told this guy I could have been something. I could have been something, you know. So that's what I gave this guy, you see. So even though he was a killer, but he also had humanity in him. You know, he had humanity in him. And that's why I do stuff like that's what was needling at me before about how to portray something. Even though I'm a killer, there's a human being up under there. Yeah. He's got a soul. He's not just all 100% killer bad, you know. Yeah. So that's how I try to, where I can do that. That's how I do the right thing by my work. That's why that's what I've been called to do.
I love that. I love that you humanize this character because I think way too often, like even at the beginning of our conversation, you talked about how our people are often viewed in these stereotypical ways, and we are not given the benefit of being human sometimes. So
no,
through
that's old.
Yeah.
That's old. You know, that's old. That thing started back in 1905 with what was that play by D.W. Griffith. You know.
Oh, you mean the film Birth of America?
Birth of a Nation.
Nation, yes.
Was see that perpetuated those stereotypes right there. That film did more. They had that film right there, and it was a huge success, and it was probably like the first kind of epic film. Mm-hmm. And it portrayed black people in all of the stereotypical positions, you know. And it sold those stereotypes. Oftentimes, white people playing black people, mm-hmm. And you know, it showed them in every in every light that was wrong, you know, slovenly, crooked, everything, and they even screened it at the White House. And the president at the time, he said, it's a shame. It's a shame that it's all true. And baby, that was a resurgence for the Ku Klux Klan. They marching down the street in Washington, D.C. Goddamn people, Klan membership went up. Damn, and those stereotypes have persisted to this day, you know? So that film right there, baby, set forth a lot of, and so, and the black people at that time were protesting because it was unfair portrayal of black people. Well, it's still happening. But that film right there set forth a firestorm of hatred and perpetuating the worst stereotypes about us, and which exist to this day. So I think my ancestors wanted me to represent in the right way. That's why I'm here. I'm representing those who've gone on before me. You know, they said, I'm here. I'm here. I listen. And, you know, so it's not, I don't do this. That's the foundation of, I don't just do this to get some money or to be on TV. I care less about that. I never got into this thing for money or to be on TV. Everybody want to be on TV today. Want to be on TV. And baby, you turn that camera on and they will give you a show. There's more clown shows on TV now than I've ever seen in my life.
So what I hear you lifting up is this duty that we as creatives have to not just our ancestors, but our community, to tell the truth or to uplift something, to humanize, to inspire.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear you say.
Well, yeah. That's it, baby. That's it. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, why do it? Why not? Why do it? Why else? I want to be in this business just to be on TV, to be ego tripping. I am not. I didn't. I don't. My ego has nothing to do with what I do. My ego has nothing to do with what I do at all. So I think we have to be socially conscious. If we have to be social, I won't do anything that I deem socially irresponsible. That will portray myself, my people, or humanity in a inhumane light. And that's you have to really be smart about that and do the best you can do, because not every character is going to be pristine. You know, that's not reality.
Right.
That's not reality. Every character you play, because I met this lady in church one time. She remembered the guy I played in Clockers, and she mentioned something about, she was giving me some love, and she said something to the effect of maybe like, even though he was playing this, this drug addict person, but I didn't have a chance to tell her the whole story. But those people that exist, but they're not all bad people. You don't realize, the more you don't realize what have put people in them kind of situations before, or put people in those situations,
Right.
You never know, why is a homeless person homeless?
Yeah.
Why is a child, when you look at movies like Sounder with Paul Winfield and Cicely Tyson, or young Kevin Hooks. Well, I was in college, I guess I'm in college, right out of college, and the intellectual buzz, well, it was more going on with that movie than people actually than that was actually being spoken about. It was about this Paul Winfield was married down in the Bayou Country, Mississippi. You know, poor people. Well, the powers that be there was taking all the money and all the jobs and, you know, giving out what they give out. Well, they was hungry. The people was, you know, his family was hungry. So he went out one night and stole some, went to the white folks' place and went in their smokehouse and got some bacon out of there. And the next morning, they had breakfast. They had bacon for breakfast. Well, when the white folks figured out that the meat was gone, they went straight to his house.
Mm.
And anyway, they put him in jail. So now you got a man separated from his family, from his son, from his wife. Why? Because he had been deprived of work, you know, deprived of having a job and wanted to feed his family, and I stole some bacon.
Yeah.
So we talk about the result. We'll never talk about the cause.
Right.
You know, so as an artist, I want to talk about the cause. That's me. I want to talk about the cause, you see. No one talks about the artists often talk about the cause, you see. That's why the intellectuals and the artists they want to get rid of first. They can affect a lot of people. You know, your thoughts can affect a lot of people. Well, and you have to decide what you into it for. Why you doing what you doing? I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I said, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I was in D.C. one time doing a play in D.C., and this guy was talking to me. All my stories start when I was at a bar. Well, I was at this bar, so this guy was asking me, and they all start with that. and this guy was, you know, he recognized me, want me to help him get into business or something. You know, well, you know, ain't nothing I can do. I'm not, you know, I'm not no director. I'm not no casting person. I ain't got no producer. You know, he fishing around. So I go, what, if I could do something, I will. But I was like, well, what do you, I said, what do you want for your career? I mean, what kind of artist? I was asking him, really, what do you want from your career? What are you trying to do? What do you really want to do? Well, he was fumbling for words.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you know, no, see, when I started doing this, there was some things I had kind of a vision for my life. Kind of. I wanted to be, I mean, I was leaving a play I was doing in St. Louis, and these people who had been to the play gave me a ride back to the hotel, white couple, and they were impressed with my performance, and they were like, well, you know, our son wants to be, and I haven't got the other story. I haven't got the other story at the bar, but our son wants to be in this business, and everything you could say to him or whatever, because then that's why he got in. And I remember saying, and this definitely relates to the story I was saying before. I said, you know, earlier on in my life, I said, if you could do this, if you could say, I would really like to be the kind of artist, actor, whatever, that I said, now you think about that. Don't tell me now. But you think about it and you fill in the blanks. Because see, that's what I did. That's why I say I had somewhat of a vision for my life. Because I said, you know, I want to be the kind of artist that, and then I rattled off some things to myself, you know. And so when I get back to this guy, I guess I'd ask him something like, what kind of artist you want to be or whatever. And really he was fumbling for words because he really, what it amounts to, he just really wanted to be on TV or in a movie or whatever. I said, well, to see me, I said, when I said so, I was just asking because, see, for me, one thing that I wanted, for me personally, I wanted the respect of my peers. That's one thing I wanted. I wanted the respect of my peers. I mean, the good ones, you know. Not every Tom, Dick, and Jane who say they're artists because they beat on the can in the street. I'm talking because, you know, I'm talking about I wanted the respect of my peers. I said, and I wanted to be the kind of artist that you would say, oh, that guy does film. Oh, that guy, oh, he does stage. And see, because I wanted to be a stage actor. That's what I wanted to be. So when I started talking about what I wanted, he started trying to jump in with me. I said, no, that's what I want. What do you want? You have to kind of figure out what it is that you want. He tried to double down on what I'm saying.
Right.
You can't do that because that's what I thought that I wanted for myself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? What kind of vision do you have for yourself? And that was the kind of vision that I had for myself. And, well, lo and behold, guess what happened? It turned out to be just the way I had already, the seed had already been planted. The seed had already been planted. The seed had already been planted. My seed, give me 1 second. See, the seed had already been planted, you see. So, so what happened was, as you asked, what does it say? When you call, he will answer. Mm-hmm. Knock, and the doors will open. Right. Well, that's what happened, child. I knocked, and those things, doors began to open. So I tell people, how do you see? And the best way I could tell them is through my experience, which was, I said, I want to be the kind of artist that it just came out of me like that. Then I began to label, things. Well, look what happened. I'm on Broadway. I got a Tony nomination, so I got the respect of my peers. Well, that's the kind of respect I want. That's the kind of respect I want. Spike Lee is my dear friend. I've been in several of his things. I don't know how many, but that's the respect of my peers. Okay. And when I was on Broadway, I came out, and I met these girls, and they were like, "Yeah, that's him. You was in Bamboozle. We couldn't believe that was you up there." They saw me in Bamboozle, then they saw me on stage, and they were like, "Oh, damn, that's him." So that's the other thing that I wanted, to be recognized as being on stage. You see, and boom. That's just the way it happened, girl. That's just the way it happened. The Holy Spirit is listening. The universe is listening. Every word uttered leaves an impression on the universe. You look in the book of James, you could talk about, they speak about that, and the way I got on Broadway, I got to tell you that right quick since I'm running my mouth so much right now. It was okay with you.
Yes.
The first time I read the play Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I had never read a real play before, really. I mean, with any, not really like a really, really, really developed play. And I read it and I said, you know what? Oh, wow, I understood. Let me tell you, I understood it immediately, intrinsically, viscerally. I understood it immediately. And I was like, wow, I got that. And I knew it. My soul spirit said, got it. It wasn't nothing to figure out. I got it. I got the whole breadth of it. I was still a young kid, really. I said, I wouldn't mind doing this on Broadway. I was so fucking Broadway, child. Dude, I was so fucking Broadway. And somebody said, oh, they already did that on Broadway. They did that. They already did that. I said, oh, well, all right, well, cool. But I was still, child, I was so far from New York. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, child, I was so far from that. But I said, yeah. And then the role that I could relate to, wow, look at that. I love that guy right there. I know this guy right here. I know this guy. Well, I did it with Jumondy Productions, young company. And well, time go long. It ended up being the first play did that play. Did that. And then time go long. I was teaching school at the time. Well, I'm gonna shut up in a minute. After a while, I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. I want to go to theater. I want to be in theater. I'm gonna start doing stuff like that. I don't know how I was gonna make a living, but I want to do that. So naive. Here I go again. Naive. Friend told me, he said, you gonna quit your job? You gonna quit your job? I was naive enough to think that, sure. Well, because I was teaching school and they would sometimes people come over do a play or lecture demonstration. Then they leave at 1 o'clock. I was kind of in charge of making sure that they were taken care of. Child, when they left at 1 o'clock, I wanted to leave too so bad. I said, I need to be going home. I don't need to be here now. I need to go. I need to be leaving too. So anyway, I said, yeah, I'm still trying to do theater. Well, anyway, quit my job. And I was my wife at the time. She was doing a play with Jumondy, and I had to take her to rehearsal. It was on a Sunday, around 3 o'clock. I had to take her over there. Carol Mitchell Leon, Ken Leon's wife, ex-wife, God rest her soul. She was in the play too. So I said, Carol, I quit my job. I said, if you know if anybody needs an actor, I appreciate you let them know about me. But see, everybody loved Carol. That girl worked 2 jobs at the same time. They love her so much. They let her do 2 jobs at the same time. She would do 1 job and leave it in the mission and go, They love that girl. They love that girl so much, they let her do anything she want to do. So, and I said, I just let you know, right, okay? Spirit told me to say that to Carol. So I said that to Carol. Next morning, I get a call at 10:30 from her husband. Kenneth Leon said, we auditioning for this part. The man that they had, it was too many lines for him. They had to replace him because it was a week before tech. It was a week before tech rehearsal, and he obviously ain't gonna get it. It's just he was obviously, if he, it's like we got to get somebody else now because he wanted to know if you want to audition. I said sure. What time you want to get there? So I said, well, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I said, cool. Boom. So I get up. Well, I get over there. I get up there. And it was the same part that I read.
That you were reading and you were like, I'm going to be, I love that. Nothing is ever wasted.
The same part that when I first did with Jumondy, and the same part that attracted my attention the first time I ever even read the play. That same part, That was the part. That's what they was looking for, somebody to play that part. So I auditioned, and child, I come to find out by then, I knew what they were doing right. They just called me in. To, well, they were married. Carol and Ken were married. So obviously she wanted me to say, Thomas Byrd, looking for a job, whatever, So they probably got the ball. They got the ball rolling with me, but they had already called New York. That's just the way that go, because they needed somebody. They was already calling New York trying to find somebody who'd be available. Because you can have the job, you just get down there, right? Because they needed somebody. So I went down there, child. Well, Jesus, the boy, child, they called me, child. I did my thing, and I left there, and they obviously had seen me. Kenny was directing this now. Kenny was in it. Anyway, Dwight Andrews, Reverend Dr. Dwight Andrews, was directing this one. Kenny gave him an opportunity to direct this thing. He was in the music for the very first one of Yale University and on Broadway. So, child, they called me before I get home. They called me before I could get home. And needed me to come in again the next day. So, child, I had never experienced anything like that in my life. Okay, we got to get him a script, get him some scripts, get him a schedule. We got to get a costume. Okay, they making me a suit. I ain't never had a suit. Child, I get down there, they go to a costume fitting. Boom, I get down there. They fitting me. They measure made me, child, suit, everything, hat, baby, measure my head. Never had that done. Made me, they made me, dude, them people made me a suit. They made me a suit in a matter of 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4, 5 days, whatever it was. They done made, first time I ever had a suit, been measured for a suit before. Boom, chakalaka, that's right. And the same part that I had an attachment to was the same part that they wanted me to read, and was the part that I got.
Amen. Look at that. I love that story.
True story. There you go.
I love that story. I love how things just kind of come together in a way, like you were drawn to that role in a way. And thank you, Jesus, for people who didn't do their work.
Well, they had to do what they had to do.
I mean, I think one of the lessons that I'm hearing in this story is always be prepared.
Oh, girl, yeah. Because you never know. You said, you never know. I've told people this. I said, I know you don't see how it's going to happen. I know you don't do it, but you got to be ready. Because you're going to get a call. You just be ready. Because I promise you going to get a call. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that. I can't tell you how it's going to happen, but you going to get a call.
Yeah.
You just be ready. And so, and then, but even the better part is, and that was my debut at the Alliance Theater. That was my debut at the Alliance Theater, Jesus. My debut in regional theater, which I always wanted to be in when I first started going to theater, what is regional theater? I looking through the program. What is this? Regional. Oh, we know these bios. Oh, the Jiva Theater, Indian Repertory Theater, all these. I said, these were regional theaters. That's a regional theater company up there. I said, oh, I didn't know nothing about that. Well, that right there kicked me off into regional theater. That kicked me off. Then, okay, here go the piece de resistance right here. Years later, I was laying in my bed down in Griffin, Georgia, and a voice that spoke to me and said, "What do you want?" I said, "Oh, $1 million." And I said, "No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't." No, I said, "No, no." That just wasn't satisfied. I said, "No." Then I said, "No." "What do you want?" I said, finally, I said, "You know, I want a Broadway debut. I want a Broadway debut." And some said, and and I said, I I want a Tony nomination. I don't even know how I even knew what a Tony nomination was, to tell you the truth. I was so naive about, I wasn't really in the business, like up in New York, all hanging out there. I was down in River, Georgia. And I was like, a Tony nomination. And I want to be what I heard of called the Broadway baby. That's what I want to be, the Broadway baby. See, the Broadway baby is when you the toast of Broadway, Everybody, you just the shit. Everybody just loves you, and shit, So I said, yeah. And I said, and then I said, I want a trophy. I want a trophy. I want to hold something in my hand. Anyway. So anyway, I guess I just started thanking God for it every day, really. I really did. And one day, child, I ain't gonna tell you the whole story how I got there, but one day I went to New York. I just separated from my wife, and I went to New York. I kept getting these phone calls of where I was up there, and I said, "Oh well." My ex-wife was talking. I said, "Well, I get." I heard the message. I said, "Well, I call. I see what she wants when I get down there. I'm leaving tomorrow, coming to Atlanta. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll find out what you want when I get down there tomorrow." So I took the flight, took the train. I get down there, come back down here, check my messages. Child, they were doing a revival of Monterey's Black Bottom on Broadway, and they wanted to see me. They want to give me the part, honey.
Oh, wow.
Girl, I had to go turn around and fly back up there the next morning.
Now, if you had called her, she would have told you and you wouldn't have.
And I could have just stayed there.
Money saved. But I love that. I love, especially in a time where there's so much transition and people trying to figure out what is next and what to do.
And what to do, and
they're dead end jobs. I've talked about this because it is so important, because we are in this time where you have to ask, what is it that you want? And I love that question. What is it that you want? I love that. I love that. And to ask that deep-seated question. And so what I heard you say was the first answer that you gave didn't get to the heart of the matter. And so the answers that you gave afterwards were the heart of the matter, and that was what you really wanted. I love that.
You're very intuitive. You are very intuitive. You have so much to offer, and I can't wait to see it all, because it's on right now. The seed has already been planted.
Yeah.
It's on. The seed has been planted. It's on. I bet you that. I know that. So anyway, I'm gonna finish this thing. So I flew back up there the next day, child, to go rehearsal to be on Broadway. Are you kidding me? I was like, what? Wow. I was like, Lord. I was like, really? Child, I flew back up there. They flew me back up there the next day and put me in a hotel. And I went to rehearsal. And I'd always wanted to be in a rehearsal on 42nd Street. And guess what we were rehearsing? On 42nd Street, right in the heart of the theater district.
I love it.
Child. And then a week before Tech, just the same situation that had happened in Atlanta. Week before Tech, needed an actor. Same thing. They had gone to some people up here in New York. Same identical situation. Week before Tech needed somebody. Same scenario.
Wow. Wow.
And so get there, child. I get there. I'm going to rehearsal. I was in heaven. Honey, I was in heaven. Okay, fast forward to opening night. I was backstage. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go stage. This is my Broadway debut. I said, oh my God. I said, oh Lord. I was backstage going, oh God, I was like, oh Lord, Jesus, really? And that's that.
I love it.
I was like, child. And I was like, God, it's happening. It's happening right now. I said, my God, just had this conversation. Anyway, and then in the story, child ended up getting a Tony nomination. And I got a Theater World Award, which I didn't know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting a Theater World Award after the, I got the Tony nomination, Jesus. And then thank you. That's what I asked for. Well, then I got this.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
I love it to death. And see, this is the theater. The theater. It's called the theater. Theater World. It's a group of a organization they call Theater World, and they keep up with what's going on in theater. And this is for an outstanding Broadway debut. So they keep a watch on the new actors coming in and stuff like that. And they give out, they give outstanding Broadway debut award. And they used to give away certificates. Thank you for this.
That is beautiful.
It's lovely. And so it's one of my favorite things. And so baby, I got all of that. So I was like the Broadway baby. They was talking about me. I got good reviews. I had good reviews. I got Tony nomination and I got Theater World Award. Child. So anyway, so you know everything we're gonna talk about today.
Yes, I love that. I felt that somewhere deep down. Like I felt that. I think someone needed that word today. Like your story is going
to Exactly. That's why we're doing this
right now, because I think a lot of times we get so caught up in right now, and when things don't happen.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many times, like I had a whole plan for my life. Okay. Like by 23, I was supposed to be living somewhere, up in New York, had a flat in London. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had all that plans, and like, here I am. I'm not in London, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly where you're supposed to be. Doing what you love to do.
And it's been a beautiful journey. And I couldn't, just like you, I can think like if I had gone through life the way that I had planned it, I wouldn't have been here. Cause like I don't think I was ready for my plan for myself. So I wouldn't have been here, but like I wouldn't be here in the way that I am today because I just wasn't ready for all the things that I wanted.
Well, what do we know?
Yeah.
What do we know?
Yeah.
We have to go within.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go within. The answers are there.
Right.
The answers are there. We have to go within. If we can just get out the way, Answers will be revealed to you.
Yes.
That's why I do my prayer meditation every day to get myself out of the way, quiet my mind. Because you know your mind, you know that girl running a mile a minute. Everybody have happening yesterday, last year, last month. Please stop.
So you do that too?
We all do.
I had a conversation like 3 weeks ago, and like one day I had to say, "It's your house. Leave it alone, LaDonna." Nobody. It was the conversation about my house. And like I was like, forget about it. Whatever you said, you said. You don't owe nobody nothing.
Girl, you sound like me. I done said the same thing. I say, calm down, Thomas. Calm down, Thomas. Calm down, Thomas. Calm down. Yeah, it happens. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. We go back, and then every time we go back, it ain't nothing but a minefield. You know, nothing but a minefield. You know, and it's about gratitude, like we said earlier. 1 Thessalonians 5. In all things, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus the Christ concerning you. It's all a gift. You know, so gratitude keeps us where we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's see, there you go. So, and of course, we all have this conversation for this is for this. We're gonna get some residue from this conversation that we're having.
Yes.
Design. We're supposed this is things happen for a reason. That's why we're doing this.
You know, they say oily. Have you ever heard someone say it's oily? This is an oily conversation, okay?
Oily. I haven't heard that.
It's the holy oil. I was like, this is
an anointing conversation. Same difference.
For such a time as this.
Yeah. Anointing, oily, yeah. You know it is. And I promise you I feel this way. I got some chill bumps on me right now. Because there is a God. There is a spirit that's resonating. Like attracts like. Mm-hmm. And there's a spirit out here that's for us. Well, our ancestors, they are for us. They are with us. Yes, we are. Yes, I'm convinced. The more we stay here, the more we are attracted to people and things that we want to be attracted to. Here we are. Yeah, it's just getting inside because you're talking about you felt something. Yeah, that's exactly correct. It's deep down. Yeah, that's the deep answer.
Yeah, I love that you keep calling and naming the ancestors, and that our ancestors are with us, not just with us, but we bring them with us everywhere we go. Yeah,
of course we do.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I learned that. It took me a while to even know, but the spirit never dies.
Right.
The body goes, but the spirit never dies.
Right.
Oh, the spirit never dies. You know that. So that's no. Yeah, that's hey. Yeah, we're not alone. And us talking is for me is a great example of that. We're not alone. You know, I see it every day. I mean, the more I can get in touch with my spiritual self, my physical body is growing up pretty good. I've been developing my spiritual body now for a while, and the more I get in touch with my spiritual self, my inner self, the more I see examples of, of what our ancestors being here, this beautiful spirit that's following us is here with us. We just got to stay away from fear, so we can hear. And we can't get into darkness, ugliness, vindictiveness. This damn flies in here. We can't get into anything that will distract us from hearing. Retaliation, fear. Keep it. It's all good. It's all a gift. Hey, maintain that flow. We gotta let the love of God shine through. We gotta keep that door open. You get no time for fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of the rest of it. That's right. But no. So we are where we're supposed to be right now, and we are not alone. And my life, my little short life, can be an example for somebody. I never knew what was going to happen. I just spoke good things. I kept doing the right thing. I never tried to push nobody down those stairs to get a job. I was never jealous. I just kept doing the right thing. I just kept trying to learning, kept observing, kept studying. And then when then I found out the power of gratitude. You know that I've been getting better ever since. You know, I've been getting better, and I'm getting better too. Every time I call myself getting out of the business, damn, all of a sudden here I am again.
Feeling you back in.
Well, I called my agent when I first got back down here. I called my agent and told him that don't call me no more because I'm gonna tell you, I was tired of auditioning, y'all. I got turned down so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I got so tired of auditioning. Just give me the job. I was so tired of auditioning, y'all. It took me so long to learn how to audition. This friend of mine one time said, you know how to audition? Girl, I did not know. I had to learn how to audition. So, anyway, I would go and thinking, oh, they can see I'm pretty good. They know my resume. Shit, they don't know the pay. I learned, no, boy. I learned to go out there and I began to, just like I have a process for getting ready to do a role in a play.
Mm-hmm.
I use that process and get ready for an audition.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started going in there, I had done the work that I do, the same work that I do when I'm getting ready to do a whole play.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in ready.
Right.
Knowing lines and knowing where I was coming from and where I was going. I knew everything. And you know what? I didn't get all those parts either, but I know I learned how. Those parts weren't for me. And some auditions I felt really good about. Really good about. I didn't get them. One time I was too good. I
Wait,
was.
how does that
I was.
work?
Well, it was a Raising in the Sun.
Mm.
And Felicia Rashad was going to direct it. And I was going in for the very end of the play, near the end of the play. If you remember, Walter Lee had come up with this plan to make some money, to buy this liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
And he got in this deal with, excuse me one second.
Still the fly.
Oh,
I thought you had killed it. Touched the window, and I was like, "You the only one."
got him. Got him. Okay. Anyway, so wow, we've been running around here all this time. Anyway, girl, and him and the guy named Bobo, I think they put their money together. His last money from his inheritance and stuff. They started this liquor store, and this guy that they gave the money to, he was going to meet with them, and they was going to go down to this place and and uh, make this pitch and all that kind of stuff. And that guy waited at that. He waited he got to put this money with the other guy's money, and they waited. He waited. He's supposed to meet this guy at the train station, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited. That guy done stole the money. He done stole the money. And baby, when I read that, I had never read that before.
Mm.
I had never read that, but I know what happened, but I had never read that in the script. And it was devastating. And girl, I was so ready. When I came in there, he asked for, he said, can I have a drink of water? I brought some water with me. And and she's and so and I had everything I had, and then when I began to tell that story, girl, I started crying so bad. I was just torn up. The people were sitting there fucking stunned. You ever seen a grown man cry like that? They were just, you could feel the energy in the room. Like, it's like that. We ain't supposed to be here. You know, man. When a person is crying like that, you always feel damn uncomfortable even being there. And, well, I didn't get the part. I was too good. That's too good. That would have upstaged everybody. It would have upstaged everything. People would have walked out of there talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been talking about that. That's too good. Everybody else looked like they didn't even exist no more. Because those people who were doing that play, they really were. I didn't look at them as they were, had as much experience as I had. I didn't look at them like that. They seemed like younger actors to me, at least acting wise. Anyway, they didn't see, and that was just too much. But all she had to do was say, "Oh, I love that. It surely works for me. Could we just don't do too much or whatever?" Well, that's what you do. That's what you do for acting. Then I can say, sure. But I was too good. That's too much. It was all correct. It was correct. But if they had seen me on that stage like that, child, people would have walked out of there talking about that because it was a very powerful moment. That's too good. Some parts just ain't right for you, and that was just, so that's just part of the business that we're in.
Yeah, right.
And some things, everything ain't for you.
Yeah. It's a fickle business that we are in.
Child.
It's one. There have been a lot of conversations right now about reconciling the racial aspect that we face as Black people within theater, and the fact that roles might not always be there, and when they are, you're looking for, specific folks, and like, just, I'm really proud of the conversations that are starting to arise. I'm really
okay. Good to hear. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are conversations that we needed to have. These are just like this conversation. Like, this is a conversation that needed to be had here today.
Yes.
These are, and I'm just really excited about what will arise artistically, because right now we're backed into a corner. We can't go on stage at the moment. We can't really film. I mean, I think they're starting to do a lot more films now, or starting to do some films now in television shows. But now this is a time when we can be creative. And
it's exactly. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you for saying that, because this time we'll produce something. This time we'll produce something. I'm glad you said that, because it's going to be interesting to see what this time produces. Because people are doing all sorts of things now. The Negro Ensemble are doing things in a new way. Because of the situation right now, they are doing things. So these times will produce something new. And I'm glad to hear you say that, because it's going to be interesting to see what that is.
Yeah.
Well, but that, and you can be, hey, guess what? The world ain't got no restrictions on. You can do
whatever,
anything you wanna do.
I mean, I've had friends that ask me, like, so where do you think art will go? I'm like, it's still going to be here. You think that art has survived being illegal. It has survived all types of, it survived the Spanish flu. It's still,
Amen.
It
That's right.
survived the plague. It's survived,
Cerebral polio.
all of it. And I mean, like, it's still here. It's genocide. I mean, it's survived.
Genocide. Life. There is no death in life.
Mm-hmm.
There is no death in life. Anyway,
Right.
hey, we are here. We are still pandemic, swine flu, like you said, in Spanish influenza. Was that 2018? Back in 1918 or whatever. Yeah, child. So here you. Hey, we were made for this.
Yes.
Our ancestors survived stuff that we couldn't even damn dream of.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
Even during enslavement, art still survived within culture, survived in some sort of way. They created new culture, songs and music. I mean, arose from oppression.
Oppression. Well, you know now. Well, you know what? See now, what we're doing is having a hush harbor.
I love that.
It's a hush harbor. That's what you call a hush harbor. That's how those things survive. See, on the plantations, and on those plantations, the powers that be, y'all can't be assembling. You can't be assembling. You can't be getting together and all that kind of stuff. So what did people do? They had what you call a hush harbor. And they won't have church, as they call it. So they went way down deep into the woods. And they had a hush harbor down there. They called it a hush harbor. Way out of the way of those people, and way down in the woods there. And that's where they sung and they prayed and they created and they communicated, you see. So it's called the hush harbor. That's the way that those things survive. Stories survive. We survived. Spiritually survived. See, when you get that together and you all get that together and the energy, the spirit is touching each other. The spirit of God is in the room. Okay? And there, you know what I'm telling you? There's one thing about our people, that the true piety and true power is always found in those people with the past and present history of suffering. That's where you can find some true piety, some true praying, some truly reaching out. That's where the spirit is. We all get together and that energy get to flowing. So we having a hush harbor of sorts, you see. Right. We find ways to have a hush harbor. I got that knowledge from reading of Black slave narratives. Those during the 1930s, the WPA, the Work Program Association, funded the Federal Writers Project and providing jobs. So gave them some money, and what will they do? I know we're going to go down and interview all these people who used to be slaves. People used to be, by the time they're pretty old, and so they were interviewing all these people that used to be slaves. It was their job, and so they're getting actual slave narratives and interviewing people and writing it down. And they brought all those things were later compiled, and then this guy James DeYoung, he found them, and I guess they were at the Smithsonian, no, at the Schoenberg or wherever they were, and he pulled some out and put them together in a play form. But it was done as if they were being interviewed. It was not a plot, per se. So, and the play was called "Do Lord Remember Me," and so that was a blessing too. You see, for me. But that way, you know, we wouldn't get no Black history stuff when I was coming along.
Right.
So the whole see, we're not alone.
No.
So you see, I got in that. All of a sudden, I find myself in this. I said, "Oh Lord!" Then I found out what it was like, and now I'm telling you.
Right.
And now you la. Ain't that something?
Yes.
Our ancestors, they are here with us, girl. They are here with us. That's right. There is a God, and He is alive and well. And His Holy Spirit is living in us.
Indeed.
So I learned those things, and I was like, wow, who knew the horrors, and so, and like you mentioned, you bring up talking about, the art surviving. Well, yeah, you think? Yes, ma'am. And I can't, I can't think of no one better to be working on it. You. I trust you. Yeah, you come from good stock. You come from really good stock, girl. You come from really good stock. Yes, ma'am. You a CEO, all right.
I really
You are a CEO, a masterpiece. I can't wait to see all of what you're going to do, because we are waiting on it. It's very important what you have to offer. What you have to offer is very important, and we want it. We want it, and we want it because it's something good, and it's valuable, it's relevant, it's important to so many of us, and we support you, and we believe in you, and what you have is very important to offer us.
thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, that's very true there.
Yeah, I receive that. I do. And thank you so much, because you've always been encouraging. You call me randomly with it's always right on time, always right on time. I want you to know, like, anytime you talk to me, like, and you give me something, I'm always taking notes. Like, I pull out my phone. Okay, so like this is gonna be profound, and I must.
Oh Lord, you're gonna put pressure on me now.
I just want you to know, and I thank you. So I think we've been talking for a while.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, we've been talking
It'll be
for
20 minutes, right? When it's 20 minutes.
Well, I don't know. Well, I like to let the conversation unfold naturally. So like I try not to keep it too tight. I just, each conversation has had its own cadence, its own time length, and I'm like, let's do it. So whatever needed to be said was said. And
Said.
yeah, so I would like to
You know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yes.
You are immensely talented. For God has blessed you with a beautiful gift. Don't you forget that.
I will.
Remind yourself. I'm going to remind you if you don't remind yourself. Don't be. Are you afraid to say that?
That I'm a beautiful gift?
I am immensely talented.
I am immensely talented. Yes.
For God has blessed me with a beautiful gift.
God has blessed me with a beautiful gift. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe. Okay, my sister girl. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
all.
certainly my pleasure, sweetheart, my baby.
All right.
All right. How lovely.